One quick question, David, if it won't take long time. So when we, defining project template, we creating project template, we have selected those project unit, project owing organization, and project expenditure organization.
Right.
So what is the basis between two organization? If I have two organization in the system, how do if I want to see their definition or their difference between them, like how do I know that this organization can be a project unit but cannot be an expenditure organization, or the other way around, like this organization can be an expenditure organization, cannot be a project unit?
Oh, okay. The classification, right? Okay.
Yeah, between them, like how do I know if I query organization, like in our system?
Right. Right. So remember this option that we had discussed, project project organization classification. This is the option that we would come back to, and we would use the name, whatever is the name of that organization. We would use that name to query for that organization to see what classifications it has been assigned with.
Okay. So at here we can see.
And if it is, yeah, okay. So if you take this business unit, so if you look at this, this is classified as business unit. Okay, this doesn't have the other classification. But assuming I do not know the name and I'm trying to query all the project expenditure organizations, then I would get it this way. So either you use the name or the classification and you can get whatever you're looking for.
Okay, and similarly we can see PU as well, project unit.
So now you can see the PUS. So project unit organization, see that option there? So are you're able to see the template screen, right?
I can see.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Name you have given.
Sorry?
Template name you have given it to us.
Yeah, that's right. It's a template name. Okay. All right. So you remember we had 3 tabs in this. One is the project, then the financial, and then the reporting. All right. So we covered all these 3 tabs, and as a part of it, we had done the all the required setups. Okay. So this is where we stopped. Now let's create a project using this template. We'll start with creating a project, and then we'll try to create different types of templates, and then correspondingly, we would have, as we discussed, we would have three types, right? One is the billable, then the other one is cost, just the cost, and then we have capitalizable. So those are the types that we want to. So let's try creating. All right. So remember, I said we have multiple options here. So to create a project, we would go into Project Financial Management. Assets is to create the assets, and cost is for looking at all the costs that is related to this project. Okay, looks like one of you has already created a project. So to create a project, this is where we would come to the option that you see here, Create Project. You could use this, or you could also expand on the task pane. All right, so that's the template that we pick up, and let's also pick up a name for it.
Is there any quick way to create a template like those Excel upload or something like that? Is manually to be set up?
The projects or the templates?
Yeah, I'll start with templates first.
No, templates have to be manually created. The templates have to be manually created. There are other roundabout ways of doing it, but that's from the projects. So remember, I said that first you would create. You need to have one template at least before you can start building on the project. So you would create a one master template, and then from there you would create projects, and from the projects you can do the you can create the template. But as such, templates do not have a direct creation option.
So usually the templates will be created by the implementation person, or it will be created by the transactional users?
You can create the template and then give it across to them.
Okay.
You can do that. If once the users get to know the system, they can also create the business users. They can also create the template. It's just if they're able to work with the system, then I think they're okay with that.
So primarily, what is the task of an implementer? So that will be setting up all those. I know that we didn't go there, but all those statuses and values, all those, just for our understanding.
Correct. That's we as an implementation specialist, you would be looking at all these options. All the setups that are in place here. So you would be creating all these things. You would be setting up all these things, whatever is needed, as per the business requirement. We would set up all of those, and we'll give it to the business user, who in turn would use this application. So it's similar to any other application. Let's say finance application, the finance modules. The idea is that you would be creating all these things. You would be doing all the setups, and you would give the business user the usage access, right? So he's able to create the journals, or he's able to create the invoices. Similarly, here the business user creates the projects.
So, meanwhile, you get those things. So, the origination will be always business user or manually come and create the project, or can it come from other other modules or other sources? Let me elaborate my question. So what I'm asking is, one of the module we use service contract. Service contract, the source is order entry, and it comes to service contract. The same way we have modeled the other things as well, like lease contract and stuff like that. So can project be originated from an order entry?
No, we'll have to create a project in projects and use this across. Okay, so remember we had these tasks under the projects, and we had assigned the resources here in case you want to assign the resource for this task as well. And then you can also add a task if you want to at this stage. Let's say you need some kind of let's pick up a task which says, this is a blueprint, right? So 3D modeling for the same. So this is this 3D modeling is also a part of it. So what I've done is I'm creating an extra task that was not a part of template. So you have the liberty to do that.
David, one question here.
Yeah.
So why we need to populate the task number? Is it not auto-populated?
Yeah, it is. Up until this point, I did not, right?
When for the 1.2, you put it as 1.2, right?
That, okay. Yeah, like I said, there is no auto population of the task number. You'll have to create that manually. What if in case you have a need to name it differently? The reason why we put it 1.1 or 1.2 and so on is for our purpose, right? You can have any name or number given against that.
But how do I know that hierarchy? I mean, like if you say like you have 1 and then 1.1, then 1.1.1. So like you can have any number of subtasks, right? There is no limit to it.
Correct.
So how do you know like that hierarchy? Like just from the screen wise you can see this is a hierarchy?
Right.
I mean, I'm saying from the back end wise, or like from the reporting perspective, or like how do I know which is the task, which is a subtask, which is a sub-subtask?
You will have to, okay. So when you're looking at a report, you will have to have that understanding as to how the tasks are created. Based on that, you would be giving, first is when you go into BI and you're trying to create a report, and you pick up all the fields either from the subject area. If you do that, or if you're writing the query, you would be seeing this information. Now, once you see the information, you will have to map it across this setup to understand how the the hierarchy of the task is. You will have to have this idea.
So I mean, this is a manual process. Suppose we already have a project in place which has hundreds of tasks and subtasks like that. If we want to add a new task, I should know beforehand like where it should lie. I mean, is it a PF task of some task, or is it a child task, subtask of some task? So I mean, there is no predefined hierarchy or something like that. It's manual thing.
Yes, because project as such is an empty box, right? you're trying to set it up the way you want it to work. So if you want to add a task, it is your discretion that you would be using and putting that under that particular task.
So like
under that head.
Doing in Excel, if I'm managing in my Excel, I write myself. Okay.
That's how it is. Alright. Okay, so this is how we got it. We added an additional one here. Now let's save this. So now let's also try and create a cost line, and we'll also understand how the costs are collected for this against these tasks, against the project and against these tasks. Okay, the name is A to F Proj 1. Okay, I'll open one more tab so it becomes easy for us to. So right now what we're trying to do is we will create a cost from the from the project side. We're not interfacing that yet from payables.
So we can, if we create an invoice and payables module using this project information in the invoice workbench, then we can see that invoice here in this project, right?
Correct.
Okay. And the other way we can directly, if we create in project, then how, what is the reference of payment we made to that cost?
You wouldn't have that information. You would not have that information. So if you're creating a line.
Sorry to interrupt. From where we came to this particular page, can you please show me that navigation?
You see this thing? Under projects you have this for creating the projects, this one for creating the costs, and this is for creating the assets from the projects. Okay, so when you say import cost, you are trying to import the costs from all these sources: payables, purchasing, cost management, if it is from projects, time entry, and these are all the external ones that you have created as a part of. You can create external sources, your sources. So let's for now let's say these are the seeded ones, and these are the ones that are custom defined. So in case you want to have the question you had just asked, I think question which says in which you said, how would I know if there is a transaction that I've directly created here, and what would happen if how do I trace it back or reconcile that back to a payment? So in this case, let's say I'm creating not from payables, but from I enter a transaction directly here. In that case, I can create an external something like this, an external miscellaneous transaction, and give the reference of that payment while creating the transaction. So that is an option. And
before going into this detail, can you please explain high level, very high level, project will be created in project module, then we need to transfer something to the costing module. That's what you're trying to say. And so high level, the integration between different modules, like costing, billing, high levels, what should be the source and what should be the mission.
Do you want to enter a sample transaction here and then come back to this? I'm just trying to show you the option here. We'll come back to each of these modules, because these modules, if there is a particular integration that needs to be done specifically, then we would be using these ones, costing, the costing base for all these things. We would do those setups here, and then we would look at the total integration. As such, you don't have, it's tightly integrated. It's a seeded integration that is in place. All you need to do is you need to enter the information, project information in that module, and then create that transaction.